What's up, everyone? Back at it. I really got to make some progress today because I've been lagging the last few days, and I'm trying to make it to some track days. So again, gonna continue some work on the surge tank and some other miscellaneous things. So I guess I never explained why I need a surge tank. The reason I need a surge tank is because to help prevent with fuel cut. What I mean about that is when you get fuel cut, basically you run out of fuel feeding into the fuel rail and the motor, and the power just cuts off. It's like a little scary sometimes. You don't know what the heck is going on, and this is extremely an undesirable event while you're on track. You can imagine if you're going all out, coming out of a turn or whatnot, and the power just cuts out. It can really mess you up. Again, emphasize scary. Maybe I'll show you guys some examples of that if I could find some old video clips on it. But the way the surge tank helps prevent the fuel cut, well, mainly because it acts as another reservoir for fuel, and due to its shape, it helps prevent fuel cut, mainly from when the fuel is sloshing around. What I mean by sloshing is when you're in a turn and on track, you're having higher G forces than you normally would from just like daily driving. Um, the fuel sometimes gets pushed to one side of the fuel tank or the other. When it does that, then the fuel pump is not in the best position to deliver fuel. So you run out of fuel and thus fuel cut. So I'll show you guys a quick diagram on what I'm trying to explain by words. So hopefully it'll make more sense. So here's my quick diagram of what I'm trying to explain, how surge tank kind of helps with the fuel cut issue. So pretend this is your main fuel tank, and this little water line is the fuel. That's fine and probably where it's sitting when you're static, but you can imagine if the fuel is lower and or if you're having high G forces left and right, that fuel kind of gets pushed to one side or the other. So these little boxes here are supposed to be fuel pumps. Again, say if I make a hard right turn, all the fuel goes to this side, and then you may be at risk for not having any fuel supply to your main pump. I do have a starvation tank, which helps, suck up fuel from both sides. So ideally, no matter what side the fuel is sloshing around, there is one on each side. But this is still not enough. So here I have the surge tank. You can see, and from the previous videos, and you'll probably see it today as well, that it's a narrow, this is not to size by the way, it's a narrow kind of container. And so if the fuel line or level is at the top, and since it's narrow, no matter how much G forces you move left and right, it kind of always has the fuel pump theoretically fully submerged, so you'll never be at risk for sucking up air or no fuel. So the whole fuel line system with the surge tank, how it works is the fuel will instead deliver fuel to the surge tank. The surge tank will then deliver it to your motor through the fuel filter and regulator and fuel rail. From the fuel pressure regulator, I believe the return line goes back to this surge tank. Normally it would go back to your main tank. And so from the surge tank, there's an overfill or overflow port that goes back to your main tank here. That's why we have kind of like 4 ports here on the surge tank that we got to plumb. I have this dotted line here because this is the way the fuel line works for one pump in your main tank, but I do have a starvation tank. I think I gotta look under there. I'll find out in a bit, but I believe the return or the overflow from the surge tank might go over here. Not sure, but again, I'm not an expert. I've never installed a surge tank. I'm doing this out of necessity and try to avoid fuel cut on the track. But that's basically the idea. So here is the cover for the surge tank. Here's the 4 ports that I was mentioning from the diagram. Kind of have it pre-assembled, not quite complete. I did buy this kit or the surge tank used, so not sure what it all comes with, but it should have everything I need to make this work. So what I had to do, or where I'm at, is I bought a new fuel pump to match my existing one. So I'm running a 450 liter per hour fuel tank. I think that fuel rate or fuel delivery is slightly higher than stock because I am running E45, which demands a little more fuel flow. So I got that already mounted. It looks kind of funny because for the fuel pump to kind of be held onto this cover of the surge tank, it's by this like little piece, green piece here, I don't know what to call it. And I put the fuel pump in the sleeve. I already had this in my parts bin, but basically the clamps kind of hold the sleeve onto this piece that comes down, and this sleeve also kind of compresses and kind of holds the pump from slipping out. So that's how the fuel pump is mounted. So the fuel will get sucked in here. I need to put a fuel filter or fuel sponge, I guess is what it's called, underneath here. Then I'm going to use one of the fuel lines that came with the kit, and the reason I want to use that is because this fuel pump is compatible with E85, and I'm assuming the fuel hose that it comes with does as well. If you don't have a fuel compatible E85 line, basically it kind of gets super brittle. So this is the original hose that came from this kit when I bought it used, and the seller told me, hey, you should probably replace the fuel lines because they're kind of like not rated for E85, and just over time it eats up this rubber fuel line. So I'll have to put that on to there. That'll go from in between here to here, and then the port is what goes to the fuel filter. What else do I need to do? Then I do need to splice and crimp some new connector and harnesses. So this connector that originally is with the kit is compatible direct connection to the OEM fuel pump. I'm assuming when I bought it used, it was the OEM fuel pump, but the 450 liter per hour fuel pump kind of has a different style connector. So the kit did come with some connectors, so I'm gonna cut this up, crimp some terminals, and put a compatible connector so it's kind of like bolt on to this. I mean, I can just splice it, I guess, but I'm trying to make this a clean install, and maybe the crimps are a little more reliable than just doing some butt connectors or whatnot. Don't want that feeling during a track day. I hate cutting perfectly good harnesses, but it is what it is. So this harness actually has 2 leads for each positive and negative wire going to the pump. It's probably because there's more than one trigger for the fuel pump on the other end of this harness. So I'm trying to see if I can crimp 2 wires with 1 terminal. I think the gauge of the wire is small enough that I'll be able to, but we'll see. Not bad. Okay, here's the final result. Actually, I had to do it a second time because I wanted to get those grommets on, and I failed to put them on the first time I crimped the terminals. They turned out good. Now I get to put the connector on. So if the connector goes here, red needs to go on this side. Get it in there. Do a little pull, make sure it's good. Do the other side. Why is this one so hard? Here's some positive clicks. And red goes with red. And make the connection. Clean. Oh, I need to put that little locking piece in the back, I think. So just an extra security piece. There you go. I think that's good. Okay, so I have everything done. I have the sock or a sponge for the inlet to the pump. Oh, okay, I forgot to put one more clamp over this guy. I had to remove it to help with the ease of installation for this hose. This hose got a little kind of a bend. Ideally you have just one straight tube going from here to the outlet on the top of the cover, but I didn't have one that short and you can't quite cut this one, but I want to use this one because it is E45 compatible. But so long as there's no kinks, I think that's fine. I got the connector hooked up, so all of this will go in there. All of this goes in here. I guess the gasket needs to go around the harness as well. There you go. Okay, I'll end this video here. Pretty sure there's a lot of video just on assembling that fuel pump for the surge tank, so I don't want it to be too long of a video. So I'll end this one here, but I'll continue to work on the next video.